Testing 1, 2, 3.
I ain't gonna give you kudos to that top now. That top is something else.
Yeah, I didn't realize how. You just gotta go under the water.
Yeah, that's what Mac did.
That little filter.
Yeah. that was different though.
Really designed for one that's out of water.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's the nice. It's stout.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We live? Yes. All right, welcome to Oconee County Board of Commissioners, a public hearing for the 2020 tax millage levy. This is our third and final public hearing. If you're joining us virtually, hopefully you're using a computer or smart device to comment or ask a question during public comments. Please use the raise hand feature in Zoom. With that, we'll turn it over to staff, whoever's presenting tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. This is the third millage rate public hearing. In this case, the 2020 millage rate adoption, it remains the same for both incorporated and unincorporated. For unincorporated Oconee County, 6.686 mills, and for the incorporated portion, 7.616 due to rise in property valuations. This is under state law considered a tax increase, and it is a 4.70% increase in unincorporated and 3.79% in the incorporated portions of the county. The rollback rate would be 0.30 mils for the unincorporated and the 0.278 mils for the incorporated portions of the county. Again, this is our third public hearing with a vote pending at the 6 o'clock meeting.
Thank you. Any questions from commissioners?
No, sir.
Thank you. Do we have any public comment tonight? Anyone virtually? Very good. With that, we're going to just a second adjourn our meeting, and then we'll come back at 6 p.m. to start the regular Board of Commissioners meeting. So we are adjourned. Thank you. All right, it's 6 o'clock. We'll go ahead and call our meeting to order. Welcome to the Oconee County Board of Commissioners meeting. Today is Tuesday, August 25th. If you're joining us virtually, hopefully using a smartphone or a computer, and to make comments or ask questions during the public comment section, please use the raised hand feature in Zoom. Just a moment, we'll ask you to stand for a moment of silence, and after that moment of silence, we'll ask Commissioner Mark Saxon to lead us in the pledge. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item of business will be to approve the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
I second.
We have a motion and second to approve the agenda. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. Next item is statement or remarks from citizens. Does any citizen have any comment on anything that is not on our agenda for tonight? Anybody virtually?
No.
Thank you. Do we have any comments from commissioners?
No, sir.
No, sir.
All right. Just a couple things I want to throw out. May Courts has a public comment period that's currently open for the Transportation Improvement Plan. You can go to the maycourts.org website to look at the plan and make comments. Also, we have a few of our citizen boards that have openings. Oconee County Board of Health has one opening. Oconee County Farmland Preservation Committee has one appointment. And the Library Advisory Board has two appointments. If you're interested in applying, please go to the website. Also want to announce that the Oconee County Fire Rescue is offering the emergency medical responder class, and that's going to begin September the 14th. So you got a little time to do the application process. Also on our website, you can get the application for that. So our first item of business is to discuss an ordinance to adopt a hotel motel excise tax.
This is pretty dead simple. We already have a tax in place. We're not changing the amount of it. We won't collect any more money. This will just allow us to allocate it a little differently and better fund the Convention and Visitors Bureau. As you recall, we requested the legislature to pass the local act that you have to pass in order to do this, and that happened. The governor just signed it a couple of months ago. So we're now bringing this in front of you. You saw it about a year and a half ago, and the only thing we've done is change some dates and added in the House bill number, and that's about it. Not much of a change. This is more housekeeping than anything else.
Any questions of Daniel on that?
Nope.
So our process here will be to advertise in the paper September 10th and September 17th. Our first reading will be September 29th. Second reading and action at the BOC meeting on October the 6th. Next item is discuss design services of the State Route 53 roundabouts. Jody?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Just wanted to bring just an update on the State Route 53 roundabouts that we're partnering with Georgia DOT. We have reviewed proposals and we narrowed it down to the top ranked firm following Georgia DOT's procurement policy for federal aid projects. And the top ranked firm is Kimley Horn. We had a scoping meeting with them yesterday, and they anticipate having a fee proposal to us on Thursday. So the plan is to bring it to the board on next Tuesday for award. So it is a federal aid process. So we're following GDOT's procurement, following the federal aid PDP process so that we don't jeopardize the federal funds on that.
Very good. Any questions? No. All right, we'll see you next week. Man. All right, our next item, contract adjustment to the Malcolm Bridge Road Elementary School and Middle School parent entrance on Malcolm Bridge Road. Jody?
Again, this is just we've got the project constructed and got the final pay application in. And so we overran the quantities a little bit mostly on the asphalt. It seemed like there was a little bit of a discrepancy when originally it was in square feet. And then the contractors wanted it 2 tons for their, as they bid it, it's easier to do that. So I think there was a little bit of conversion that made it off. And then also it looked like there was a little bit of a miscalculation on maybe one of the areas on the plans didn't get brought into the bid quantity. So the asphalt topping overran a little bit. And this contract modification will add $6,465.60 for widening concrete. And that is a standard GDOT practice for areas that are narrower than 5 feet, 0 to 5 feet. They use widening concrete. And then the asphalt overrun and the other quantity overrun will add $38,241.25. And that will reconcile actual quantities placed, increase the contract amount from $561,377.25 to $606,084.10. And that is the final price for that roundabout. So,
Thank you. Any questions from commissioners? You're all right for consent agenda next week?
Yes.
Very good. Thank you. Do we have any public comment on this item? Anybody virtually? Thank you. Next item is discuss the purchase of a fire engine for station number 2. Wes?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Board Commissioners, citizens of Oconee County. Just want to talk to you tonight and make a request of the board for our fire station truck. Station 2 in Farmington was approved in the FY21 budget using 2015 SPOS funds for replacement engine. This engine will replace a 1993 engine, which is 27 years old, and it's currently in use. The engine will have a 1,500 gallon per minute pump and a 1,000 gallon tank. This would standardize all of our engine and ladder trucks since 2003 with the Sutphen brand. And this enables our volunteers to respond to trucks that are equipped, operated, and manufactured with the same likeness. The financial impact of this decision would cost $512,900 for the brand new Sutphen engine. They are produced in Dublin, Ohio. Therefore, we would have to enter into an agreement, a cooperative purchasing contract through HGAC. This is the mechanism that we used in the past to purchase trucks. And so that's our recommendation moving forward. And my request to the board is to enter into a purchasing cooperative contract with HGAC for the purchase of this new fire truck for the Station 2 in Farmington.
Thank you.
If there are any questions, I'd be glad to answer those at this time.
Any questions?
Not for me.
Very good. All right, for consent agenda?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Mr.
Yes.
Chairman.
Do we have any public comment on this item? Anyone virtually? Thank you. All right, next item is consider the 2020 tax millage levy for the Oconee County Government Maintenance and Operations.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. So you've had your third public hearing on the millage rate for 2020. In this case, the Oconee County unincorporated would be 6.686. And for the incorporated portion, it would be 7.616. Move forward again under state law by the increase in the tax digest. This would be considered a tax increase. The action before you would be to adopt the millage rate for 2020.
Thank you. Any questions?
No, sir.
Very good. Do we have any public comment on this item? Have any public comment virtually? With that, we'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we adopt the 2020 tax millage levy for Oconee County Government M&O operations.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. Our next item is consider confirmation of the 2020 tax millage levy for the Oconee County School Maintenance and Operations.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Similarly, the Board of Education passed a motion to recommend an M&O millage of 16.5 mils. The action before the Board of Commissioners is to confirm this rate.
Thank you. Any questions there?
What if we hired somebody to do it? That would just be
Okay. Thank you. Any public comment on this item? Anybody virtually? With that, we'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the 2020 tax millage rate for the Oconee County Schools.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. Next item is to update the Board of Elections precinct voting locations. Ms. Fran?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. How are y'all tonight? Glad to see you. I want to let y'all know that we have done some exciting things over at the Board of Elections in the last week or two. We have made some polling location changes to 5 of our polling locations, not to the actual precincts themselves, but just the place where the people go to vote, which is the polling location. So we're not changing any precinct lines. The precincts are all staying the same. We are just moving the actual polling locations. And the reason we're doing this is because we expect a fairly high turnout for our November 3rd election. And due to the number of machines that we are required to have by law, we need the space to have larger facilities. Also, due to COVID, our 6 feet distancing and the electrical capacities that our machines need, we have been in search of some new facilities that would be willing to let us use their places as our new polling sites. So I'm happy to say that we have moved Athens Academy to Nations Church. So that is a wonderful move there. The place is it's really large, electrical capacity is perfect, and that is actually within the precinct of Athens Academy. So that works really well for us. We're excited about that, especially with the Presbyterian homes getting ready to open up. That will add a lot of voters to that precinct. So this will accommodate a lot of people, and we're excited about that. So the next one we are actually combining Farmington and Bishop into one precinct. So we're moving out of the Farmington Community Center and we're moving out of the Bishop Community Center, and we are going to the Bishop Baptist Church on Old Bishop Road. It is a larger facility than we have now in either of those places. Electrical capacities there, and they were so gracious to agree to let us vote over there. So I think that's wonderful. We're excited about that one. And then the other location change we have is we are moving North High Shoals. Unfortunately, we have to move them again. We moved them the first time from the fire station to the new town hall, but unfortunately the town hall, the way it's set up, does not allow us to use the machines that we need to use for everybody to vote. So we are moving North High Shoals and North Oconee over to Grace Fellowship. And that's huge. We have an 8,400 square foot area there, which is going to be phenomenal for all the voters. All of the places that we have now secured are wonderful for anybody that has handicap issues. The accessibility for everyone is so much better, and we are, going to be able to spread everyone out as necessary for all the spacing for COVID. So that's something that we are all excited about. So that's great. We are so grateful too to the churches for letting us use their facilities. The other thing that we're excited about is we're having early voting at the Civic Center this year for November. We are not going to have it at all at our office. We don't have enough space there to have everybody spread out. And so we have been able to secure the Oconee County Civic Center for our new voting location for early voting. We'll start on October the 12th, and it goes through October 30th. And we have a Saturday voting as well, and that's October 24th. And we have extended some hours. So we're going for the 3 weeks. We'll vote Monday through Thursday, we'll be voting 8 to 5. And then for the 3 Fridays, we'll be voting 8 to 7 p.m. So hopefully that will give a lot of people, an opportunity to come in and vote on Friday evenings that maybe they haven't had previously. So our Saturday hours are 9 to 4 on that one Saturday on the 24th. So that's what we have on board over there. Precinct cards have already been ordered, getting ready to be mailed out. So everybody will be, informed ahead of time. So we're excited about it. Do y'all have any questions for me?
Well, you got it under control.
We're in good shape.
And all of this has been vetted by your board.
Yes. In fact, during the last election, on election day, my Democratic appointee and my Republican appointee went out together in the same car. And they went and looked at all the different polling sites. And they were the ones that actually came back to me and said, let's look at this, let's see what we can do. And the board, everybody was really happy with that idea. So yeah, it's been great. Anybody have any questions? Anything else? Okay. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Next item is an update on the broadband project. That'll be Justin.
Good evening. So from a timeline perspective, let's start with the end. I'm hoping to have a contract in front of this board sometime in September, fingers crossed. But I did want to give a general update on sort of where we are. We're in the middle of a contract negotiation right now, and but just where the project overall is and how it has morphed from the original concept to something that we think will be really fantastic for Oconee County. So overall, this is very similar to, we're not calling it a public-private partnership, but we're partnering with the firm. In this case, it's Smart City Capital, to create a new company, and it's called NewCo, and that will not be the final name. We just haven't thought creatively yet. But what it is a 20-year partnership with the company. So we're estimating a 2.5 year to build out the 80-mile fiber ring, and it also incorporated an aggregate 540 miles of fiber throughout the whole thing. If you recall, the original concept was just the 80-mile fiber ring itself, and then turn it over to a company to build out further from there. So this would include the 540 miles. This is a combination of wired and strategic tower locations located throughout the county, ideally located on public facility sites, including the fire stations and park sites. It also has the duplicate ability to help with some of our cell tower service issues, additional redundancy on some of the capacity, and then improving public safety and leading ultimately towards some of the next gen 911 issues that we're going to look to tackle over the next few years. What this also does is it calls into mind the realities that we have from an economics perspective, is that to physically wire the entire county is an astronomical number. This sort of provides the best case of meeting the needs of some of the low density areas, at least in the short term, and then moving forward with some of the other areas as we can catch up economically. From speeds, we're expected to go up to 10 gigabytes per second for residential business, and that's the wired. And then the minimum anticipated for the wireless that would come off the towers is a 50 megabytes per second, which is significantly faster than what's available for these areas now and meets the broadband definition. So these are the overall partners, in addition, of course, to Oconee County, which is Smart City Capital. They're a master integrator and the funding source. Progressive Communications is the network builder. Nokia and Infinity are the technology providers. And then Point Broadband is the ultimate service provider of end user internet. So responsibilities for again, NewCo, to be named something more flashy later. They're going to design, build, and operate, finance, monetize, and manage the fiber network. And that includes, so that's the capital expenditures. There's also the technology refresh that occurs over the years. They're going to be involved with the marketing, the commercialization, and they're the customer service. So when there's an issue with your internet, you'll be calling NewCo, not Oconee County, because they're the ones who are going to have the technical ability to handle it. From the county perspective, there's two primary obligations. The CapEx contribution is established to be about $4.5 million. We're negotiating the actual structure to it, but the goal is to have it out of the SPLOST 21 pending approval of SPLOST 21. And then we'll utilize NewCo services. So over the course of the 20 years, the provision of the internet services, the county services themselves will run through the NewCo as opposed to a different provider. So benefits, obviously, state of the residential business, broadband internet access, one of the most important things to the community right now. increase in public Wi-Fi opportunities, the ability to continue with remote learning, work, smart agriculture industry, and smart city projects that include the ability to deploy 5G technologies through a series of what they call stealth facilities that look essentially like light poles that will improve some of the, again, cellular as well as broadband technologies. The county, as part of the NUCO, will receive a revenue share from the project that we'll put back into, or can be placed back into, the network itself as we look to expand the fiber through some of the more underserved. So some of the areas, especially on the southern part of the county, there will be some ability to subsidize some of those to increase some of the wired connectivity down there, and instead of just the over-air connectivity. And then this is viewed very much like a lease purchase project where the county will receive ownership of the entire fiber network and its assets at the end of the 20-year term. We can then turn around and re-up with the company or have somebody else run it, or at that point, perhaps the county wishes to enter and become its own utility. But that's sort of the long and the short of the project. So it's a 20-year term. Ultimately, the county receives all the assets on the back end, and this is a project that will ultimately really change the narrative on Oconee County from a wireless and broadband perspective. Happy to answer any questions you may have in a non-contractual manner.
Any questions, Randall? As much, just preliminary engineering been done, or do you know?
Some very preliminary engineering. They're not too excited to get on the ground until we have a commitment, which I fully understand, but they have a pretty good idea as far as what the source points are, where the potential tower locations. There's some very obvious ones, like the new tower, for example, that will be constructed to the southwest of Watkinsville, is a prime location, already a vertical structure. So we'll take advantage of a lot of those as well to ping those. And so the technology engineers have some of the topo laid out already.
Any idea how many homes might be grabbed at the end of it?
Yeah, they're looking so the end is different. The initial pass, we're looking to do 5,000 to 6,000 passes from the first, what I call the 2.5-year deployment. So based on those numbers, at the end of 2.5 years, you'll have 5,000 to 6,000 homes that'll be passed through. Primarily, we're going to look to especially hit some of the southern part of the county. And the ability to go over air with some of the towers will hit some of those that just are not economically feasible for quite a while.
What would the height of these towers be, you think?
Right now, they're under 150. I said nothing 200. I'm not going to have to put a blinker on any. And they said no, under 150. We'd be looking to find that sweet spot between obviously reduce the number of new towers required, but at the same time, we want to be cognizant of the ability maybe to cover some cellular gaps at the same time. We can have some co-locations from some of the cell providers. So we're looking at it as very much a win-win if we can, especially if we have the ability to put those in a more aesthetically hidden location than maybe a third party would be interested in doing.
Is there any infrastructure that we can utilize currently?
Yeah, absolutely. They have a listing of all our, what I call vertical assets. The new tower, we have 4-ish water towers now. All those would certainly be prime candidates. Even things as small as at Heritage Park, the pavilion is fairly tall to begin with. It probably would not take a significant amount to reach a point where you can start getting some line of sight off of that. So yeah, the first priority is to use our existing assets, our existing park, where we can put a tower further through the back so you don't have the view shed blocked by some of the different vertical intrusions.
Yeah, I know we got some of the light poles that are in those parks could be utilized.
Absolutely. And we're really excited about the deployment of some of the smart, they call them the smart poles. We have the ability to get those. Those are solar powered. And they actually have the ability to put power back into the grid, and they help with the 5G deployment so that we can run those through all our parks and throughout the right of way. Those will help bridge some of those, get some quick wins as well.
Yeah, we're still every week get at least one email or call about internet connectivity in the county. So this is a huge project. We'll say too, at least one of the incumbents has been very busy over the last few months trying trying to address some issues in some of the subdivisions. So they're being very aggressive about, so just our conversations are actually working to help some of the citizens out there. Any other questions?
No.
Very good. Thank you. Our next item is discuss intergovernmental agreements with the Board of Education, Oconee Area Resource Council, and area churches serving together.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. As you may be aware, there is something called the coronavirus relief funds, or CARES Act money that has been made available to counties and cities. In this case, we're seeking currently reimbursement through an established portal through several of our coronavirus related costs. But I reached out to Dr. Branch at the Board of Education to see if they may have some costs that were unfunded or an inability to use some, because we might be able to help out depending on what kind of ultimate funds we've received back. And similar conversations with ACTS and OARC so that they'd have some ability to provide some additional relief in the community and take part of some of these. And so what you would ultimately have before you is an IGA, where if we receive a certain amount of funds, and we're unsure at this point how much between DCA and OPEB we're going to ultimately receive, but some ability to reach a cooperative agreement so that we can better reach some of our mutual constituents, both through the schools and through OARC and ACTS. And so I don't have the agreement for you now because I don't have the dollar amount that I can attach to it. It's something that we would look to do on the back end after we've received the funds. But I always wanted to bring that to your attention as something that we're looking to pursue to better help the community at large, a lot of whom are suffering through pandemic issues.
I don't know much about it, but the CARES Act, so the CARES Act, it's got a portal for county and education, or is it all one kind of portal?
Well, the one we're dealing with is specifically is through the state, granted to the county.
Yeah, so schools really don't have access to the funds. So it was just us reaching out to say, here's an opportunity to help out on that side of the street. So also I've talked to Chairman Odom as well as the director for ORS and ACTS, and they're all on board with signing agreements verifying that the funds meet whatever stipulations may be from the federal level, state level. So the portal closes on September 1st, so we're hoping we'll have approval and kind of know and be able to present the 3 IGAs next week at our meeting. If we don't get final approval by then, we may have to push it out a little bit just to verify. We don't want to give the money away before we get some. So.
Absolutely.
Any questions?
No.
Okay. All right, thank you. Next item is discuss acceptance of surplus landscape blocks from the city of Watkinsville.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Board. This is a pretty simple item. In this case, the city of Watkinsville city manager had a conversation with me. They had some surplus landscape blocks from some of their mulch facilities. Simply wanted to know if we were interested in utilizing them. Our Public Works Department would, as part of our some of the renovations we want to do to the landfill site. And so simply to accept the blocks from a transfer perspective, we have on there just ratification and acceptance of the blocks. It's just a cooperative effort between the two governments, and we've agreed to move the balance of the ones they've requested for them back to their facility in Watkinsville.
No problem.
Any questions?
No.
You all right for consent agenda?
Yes.
Yes. Very good. Any public comment on this item? Any virtual comments? Thank you. Next item is discuss the alcohol application for the Olive Basket. Ms. Kathy.
Good evening, Commissioners. We've got a new alcohol license application. This is for the Olive Basket, which is located at the Falls shopping area over on Old Highway 441. The new owner is Eric Geisler. He has done the application. It is complete. He took the RAS training. He will also be the registered agent as well as the owner. And basically, he will have fees prorated for the last 2 quarters of 2020. And then he'll turn right around and start his renewal application for 2021. And that's about it.
Okay. Any questions on this item?
No.
Very good. Consent agenda be fine?
Yeah.
Thank you. Any public comment on this? Anyone virtually? Thank you very much. We do not have a need of an executive session, so Commissioner Saxon,
I'll make a motion we adjourn.
Second.
we are adjourned. Thank you very much.